Why so happy?
Things are changing. The Allies have taken Italy, France will be next, and soon the war will be over.
Good! Why does that make you happy? You hate your country that much?
I love my country. It's a war I hate. It's pointless and stupid, and the sooner we have peace, the better.
Oh, the war will end. We will crush our enemies into dust. And when they are destroyed, we shall use their graves as toilets.
Okay, no more politics. Dinner is neutral ground. This table is Switzerland. Let's eat.
You aren't eating.
No, I am not that hungry. I might eat later. For now, I'm just going to chew on these grapes.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas, and I am joined by my co-hosts.
Abraham.
And Nick.
How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. I had a long day today.
Did you?
Long day, you were falling asleep?
Bro, yeah, it's just a long day at work.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
Today was definitely a Monday.
Okay.
Like, you can, yeah.
I'll start calling you Garfield.
I was about to do it. I was this close to saying that crap. Get
What
you a
do you mean?
lasagna. Because he hates, you never, that's his like catchphrase. He hates Mondays.
He hates Mondays and he loves lasagna.
Start calling you Garfield, bro.
That's okay.
Dang.
I had an absolutely regular day.
Okay.
Regular day, man. It was cold.
Dude, it's
so I'm all
freezing.
bundled up right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, nothing too crazy. What about you?
Same. So it was crazy busy at my work last week because we're going through tons of change. But then I got Friday off because of Veterans Day. So then I had this like nice long weekend, and then I was bummed I had to wake up for work again. I was like, oh, man.
You get too used to.
Yeah.
I know, and the cold makes it so much harder to get out of bed.
Bro,
Oh, yeah.
Cause you're straight up sitting there. I got my like 2-3 layers on, and I'm like, I wake up at 6. I'm like,
Yeah.
like, I can't move
Yeah.
because it's too cold.
I walked to work this morning and I said, I need another layer.
Yeah.
I love it though. I'm not complaining because I freaking love the cold.
Yeah,
Like,
I love the cold because you can add layers. I feel like more layers, the better.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna tell you guys. I was talking to my coworkers. I might have told you this. Tell me if I did or not. I was talking to my coworkers and it was cold in the morning and people were complaining about it. And I said, you know what? I would much rather be in this degree weather. I think it was like maybe 40s in the morning. I would much rather be in the 40s than in 100+ weather. Does
Yeah.
anyone agree with me?
Yes.
And my coworkers were like, no, I want to be in the 100-degree weather.
No.
And I was
dude.
like,
being hot is so uncomfortable, dude.
it's the worst.
Yeah.
It's the worst, dude.
My reasoning too is you could always add layers on, but you can never take layers off.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, man. According to my PG&E man, telling me to take my clothes off just to keep cold in my house.
I'm like,
never will I ever choose. And I honestly, I was like, I work with a bunch of psychopaths.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I love when it gets colder out is,
outfits.
well, yeah,
Outfits
outfits
are
get easier,
Easy to style.
but also like being able to sit at home with a sweater on.
It's so comfy.
That's the comfiest.
Yeah.
Dude. Put on a sweater.
Bro,
put
I'll
a
be playing
blanket
video
on,
games.
Put a
and I
blanket
just-
on your feet.
And you're
Boom.
set, dude.
You know, there's nothing else better.
Yeah, nothing more cozy and warm.
It's
Yeah.
weird because even when it's hot, you'll catch me with a big blanket on my bed because I like
bro.
having a blanket.
Yeah.
I'm stripping down to the chones when it's hot.
Oh, dude, I mean, yeah, I'm in my chones, but I'm
But it's gotten so hot before first off, I always strip down to the chones when I sleep.
Oh yeah,
But
fair.
it's gotten so hot to the point where like I don't even sleep in my covers. I sleep on top of the bed. Like and I got like fans blowing and stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
I'm telling you, it's not worth it. Like
It's
I
not
know,
comfortable.
I know you get more daylight. I know
Yeah.
you have like vacation time
yeah,
and go and hang out with friends and all that. But it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks so bad to
Yeah.
be out in 100-degree weather, especially in where we're at in the valley right here. It's
Yeah.
I'd never choose it.
It's rough.
I
It's
would
easy-
much
it's-
rather get bone chilling cold than sweating my balls off hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I crazy for that?
No. No, and that's the thing is
No.
like where we live, summer sucks.
Summer
but like
sucks.
but like in places like LA, like closer to the beach, Venice, summer's great.
Yeah.
It's like 75, 76 and everyone's like, this is nice. And I'm like, yeah, I would love summer too
we
if
got
I
like
lived somewhere else.
110.
Yeah.
I think the highest it got
rough.
this year for us was 114.
Yeah, it's rough.
It freaking sucks. So every time this time of year comes around, I just like I roll my windows down and I just freeze my hand out there because I don't want to freeze. Like I want to remember it. You know what I mean? Like I just want to freeze for a second and feel something. Is that I don't know.
Maybe you're a psychopath and you're saying you want to feel something.
No, like you gotta respect it. You know what I mean? I don't know how to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just hate
funny.
summer,
Yeah.
and you'll catch me complaining in a couple months whenever
Alright.
summer comes back.
All
But
right.
yeah, man,
Subpar days, right?
Yeah.
not as bad as
matched
some
with,
of these.
I was gonna say matched with a great movie.
Yeah.
I would say,
This
right?
is a phenomenal movie. It was I'm so glad I picked it.
Yeah.
I am
I'm
too.
really glad I picked it.
I was curious as to what you were gonna say though.
I was gonna say, well, a bad day for summertime is not as bad as the days that these freaking Nazis
Oh.
have.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, because they get wrecked. But I was gonna say
Yeah, they do.
which we're happy about.
Yes, we are very happy about that.
I was gonna say to be fully transparent. I went into this movie like not wanting to watch it for some reason. I was like, I don't want to watch this movie. I don't. I really don't. I don't know why. I think it's because my last experience with Taika Waititi was Thor: Love and Thunder,
The
and
freaking wah, wah, wah.
I was
I wish I had the soundboard.
of
Womp.
Love and Thunder.
really disappointed in that.
Yeah, that was a big womp.
Yeah, and I don't know. And knowing that he directed this and that he's like a main part of this film, I was like, am I ready? Am I ready to go back? Is it did I just have my blinders on the first time I watched it? Because I liked it the first time.
Yeah,
And I just really didn't want to be disappointed.
yeah.
So I really was dragging my feet to watch this film. I was like, I'd watched it. I almost, like, I literally, when I got here, I had 20 minutes left. Like, and I had to watch it. I was like, but I ended up I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
I think this is a great movie. And I think Taika Waititi in here is actually really good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I would agree.
yeah, I'm glad I got through it. I don't know. How'd you guys feel about it? Yours second watch?
This is my second watch. Yeah,
This is my first watch.
yeah. And I remember. So, for the people that don't know,
Yes, for the people who don't know, the movie that I chose was Jojo Rabbit. It was directed by Taika Waititi, also written by him, and it's adapted screenplay from a book called Caging Skies, written by Christine Liu.
yeah,
I don't know how to say the last name.
Her
It starts
last
with an
name,
L.
yeah, her last name is hard to pronounce.
But yes, Taika Waititi was the person who wrote it and directed it.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's not streaming anywhere. But this is a movie that I've been wanting to watch for a long time, and I just never, because it looked funny when I seen the previews and stuff, and this was also a killer year for movies, which was 2019.
Oh yeah.
And this is just one of the films
We've
that I've
done
never
about
seen.
every single one of them.
Dude.
Almost, yeah.
It. I still like. I watched this movie yesterday, for the pod today, and on my break at work, I couldn't talk to Alexa, and so I was listening to a couple of our episodes, and I started thinking about Jojo Rabbit and the year it came out, and I immediately was like, it's insane. the year that cinema had in 2019. Like, unmatched. You got Us that came out in 2019. Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Marriage Story, The Lighthouse, Parasite. Like, all of these banger films. I'm probably missing some.
Oh,
Dude,
that,
yeah.
Once
like,
Upon a Time in Hollywood.
there's so many good films that came out this year. And that was one of the reasons why I was so excited to watch the Oscars.
1917?
Exactly.
1917,
God.
dude.
Like, there's so many good films, and like whenever the Oscars came around, I was like, dude, I'm so excited to watch this because I don't even know what to pick. Like, all these films are so good. I was
Yeah.
so excited to see what was gonna happen, and yeah, it's just crazy to think that
What? Peanut Butter Falcon 2019?
it also came out in 2019
I
too.
guess so.
Yeah.
Ford
Jeez.
versus Ferrari was a big one
That
for a
was-
while
yeah.
too.
Christopher
Yeah.
Nolan or Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Christian Bale, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it's there's.
Did
I'm just
Tenet
looking at.
come out in 2019 or no? That was
Uh,
2020 because it was
yeah,
the pandemic.
And
huh?
it was
There's a movie
through
that I've been wanting to watch.
theaters.
The King
Yeah,
King is great.
yeah.
came out as well.
Dude, I honestly, if you went into that nomination and just being like, all of them can win.
Yeah.
Like I love these
Midsummer?
all.
Oh,
yeah.
that came out in 2019
That
too?
came out in 2019.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you look at a year in cinema and seen how many just bangers came out that year. It's kind of crazy
Yeah.
that the Academy just had to be like, all right, let's pick the best one.
Let's try to pick the best
Like,
You just
one.
close your eyes and
Yeah, seriously. 'Cause
There you
they're
go.
all good. Like,
Yeah.
I would be happy with any outcome, but yeah. So I didn't actually watch this movie when it was out in theaters, but I was extremely interested by it.
Mm.
And then whenever the Oscars came and went, this one ended up picking up the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. And then it got its DVD release and all that stuff. And I ended up picking it up on Blu-ray, having not watched it, and then decided to watch it later on. And whenever I did so, I was like, I wish I could have seen this in theaters. Like, it would have been, I think, super cool to have that theater experience and, see this comedy, this satire. I guess you could call it like a dark comedy. And, it'd be cool to see this in theaters and to see how other people would react.
yeah, that
Yeah.
would have been
Like,
interesting.
to the film and its subject matter and its comedy and stuff like that.
Yeah, because this movie's kind of hated by some people, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's understandable. I mean, the
It's
subject matter is
understandable.
really tough.
It's very
It's a touchy
Yeah.
subject.
It is.
Excuse me.
yeah, it's very sensitive subject matter.
Yeah.
But for the
But-
people that don't know, this movie is a satire or a dark comedy about it's adapted from a book called Chasing Skies. I think her name is Christine Lunens. I think that's how you say the last name.
You said it better than I would ever assumed.
But it's about a young boy named Jojo who
Johannes.
he grows up in Nazi Germany. He is a German at the time. And it's a story about indoctrination.
Yeah.
And a story about a young boy who knows no better, thinks that he is on the right side of things, and has an imaginary version of Hitler as his friend. And
That's his best friend.
yeah, it's
His
his best
best
friend, and he looks up to him and stuff like that, and thinks that what they're doing and what Germany is doing in the war is not wrong. And as things start to get revealed throughout the story, he slowly starts to realize that, we're actually the bad guys in this situation. We're losing, and that's a good thing. And I'm having trouble understanding that because
You're taught one thing.
I've been taught, that we were the good guys the whole time and that everything we were doing was right and correct and it was okay. But then I'm hearing all this other stuff and it's conflicting with what I've been taught.
Yeah.
And so you get this inner turmoil with our main character, and we get to watch that indoctrination sort of, crumble before our eyes. And it turns into something I think, becomes really wholesome.
Yes.
And it becomes, a story about love rather than hatred, and how, those things should outweigh one another, and that you should always, always, always lead with love and have more of that than hatred.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I think that's exactly what this movie's trying to tell us.
yeah,
I think you said it very well.
perfect.
Um,
This movie is streaming, I believe, on Hulu if you have a premium subscription.
yeah, because I think it's like FX Now for
Okay.
part of Hulu.
So if you have that,
So if
check
you have
it out.
it, yeah, check it out.
If
Um,
not, pick up a copy or rent it.
I think it's
I-
definitely worth a watch. I don't,
Yeah,
in my opinion, even if you think it's not going to be a good movie, I think it's a good watch, and then you can take things from it.
it is.
You can learn some stuff, and
Yeah, and I would want to preface it by saying if you haven't checked the movie out, it is crucial that this movie is satire,
Yeah.
and that it's not being serious.
No, it's
Like it is almost like it kind of blows my mind that I have to say it. Like,
like
because when I watch it, I'm like, obviously this is like done for comedic effect, or it's done like through a satire-filled lens.
Yeah.
But
not
then
not to like glorify it at
Yeah.
all, but to take away all the power that it had.
Yeah, exactly. And to be able to poke fun at it and
Right.
be
Yeah.
like, look at how ridiculous this was. Listen to what these people believed and what they thought was true at the time. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's trash.
And
yeah.
and we're able to look at it now and be like, that's
Like,
crazy.
I
People
can't
believe
believe,
that.
yeah.
Like I can't believe that. Like
Yeah.
all these stereotypes and these tropes that the people at the time were pushing about the Jewish people were completely unfounded
Yeah.
and ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, so watch it with that lens.
yeah.
And
You will
I think
enjoy.
you will enjoy and have a very good time.
Yeah.
But I guess with that being said, Abe, you want to start us off with your first favorite scene?
Yeah, mine's actually not the beginning.
Okay.
Throwing
So,
us through a loop.
so if you have the beginning, you're more than welcome to take it away.
Yeah, I have the whole intro / training montage.
Yes. So my first is meeting Captain K. I don't know how to
Okay.
say his full name,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of hard for me to say it. So meeting Captain K, at this like training camp
Yeah.
is hilarious.
Klenzendorf?
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. I couldn't say it. I
Sam
don't wanna
Rockwell's
bu-
character.
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell's character.
Yeah.
And he's just this soldier who was injured in the war and now has to train these kids
Mhm.
to be a soldier for Germany.
Yeah.
And the way he just shows, he's obviously very intoxicated.
Yes.
He, I just think of the stuff that he says. He's just, we're gonna learn some drills today. We're gonna learn how to do some hand grenade drills and teach you how to do this and this and that. And it's so chaotic that it's funny.
Yeah.
And all these kids are like, yeah, woo! Like we're gonna do
Like
this.
we're getting ready for war. Yeah.
Like, it's-
And they're all like 10 years old.
They're all
Yeah.
10 years old.
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because it's just the captain is just you could tell he doesn't want to be there and he wants to be at the other part of the war.
Yeah.
And not take care of these little kids and be a babysitter. And,
Yeah.
Um
I mean, he even says it too. He's like, I know you guys might be all thinking, how's this guy, leading this? He's never even been in war and stuff like that or anything. And he's like, believe me, I have. I got injured, so now they made me do this because they won't let me back on there because
I
you,
have
can,
one
you
eye.
have you only have one eye and you have to be able to see two in order to be in combat. That's bull crap. If
Okay,
I
what
only
we
had
gotta
one
do-
eye, would I be able to do this? And he just starts like shooting just out of nowhere. Yeah.
It's so funny.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in all the right ways.
Yeah.
And you just see our character, Johannes, who will preface as Jojo.
Mhm.
And he's just like fascinated with it.
Yeah. He's eating it up.
He's
He
eating it
is.
up. He's like, that was a bad analogy that I was about to say. He's just like a kid at a candy store,
Yeah.
and he just can't lose his eyes.
He's
Um,
lost in the sauce.
He's
He
lost in
is
the sauce. That's a good word.
Lost.
Yeah.
Absolutely lost.
Yeah.
And
To where
it's
his literal imaginary friend is Hitler.
Is Hitler.
yeah,
Which is it's crazy to think
Yeah.
about. A literal 10-year-old.
Idolizes this man and is like, it shows up in his imagination and has conversations with him.
And he's like giving his life for this man he knows nothing about.
Yeah.
It's insane how much like propaganda just
Yeah.
flooded his mind
Yeah.
and how it changed him.
Yeah.
And like the beginning, I think the beginning works so well
Yes.
at getting you introduced to the satire of the film because it's him talking with Hitler
Yeah.
and they're greeting each other in the way that they would do as a Nazi
Yeah.
in Germany. Saying,
Yeah.
saying what they say.
yeah, saying what they say, and they do it so many times.
Yes.
And he's doing it, and you start to sit there and be like, "This is
Okay, that's enough.
This enough. This is ridiculous." And it
Yeah.
reminds me of that there's a phenomenon where you say a word over and over and over, and it starts to
like, lose its meaning.
yeah, and it starts to be like, for me, it happens all the time with bowl.
Yeah.
I'm
Bowl?
like, I say bowl, and it's not even a word anymore. It reduces all meaning.
Yeah.
And it's like completely insignificant. And I think
Yeah.
that's a part of the reason why they do it so often right at the
Mhm.
beginning.
Yeah.
Because then you're sitting there and you hear it like if they did it once, you'd be like shell shocked. You'd be like, whoa, this is pretty intense stuff.
Yeah.
And they say over and over and over, and you start to be like, this is ridiculous. Like, come
Yeah.
on. And you're like, oh, okay. It doesn't have meaning.
Yeah.
Like this, that's the whole point of showing Hitler in this light, is to show that he's just a ridiculous man that had no right to be in power.
Yeah.
And have that as much influence as he did.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it works so well as the introduction to the film.
Yeah. I love too how like whenever he's looking in the mirror and he's like Johannes something, I forget his last name. He's like 10 years,
Belzer
he's
or
like,
something.
Yeah, he's like 10 years old. You're about to go off to camp and blah blah blah, all this stuff and everything, and then the camera switches a little bit and you see him walking and he's like almost like looming around him like he's a shark.
Mm-hmm.
And like is like surrounding this kid. He's he's all that this kid thinks about.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts Jojo starts to have like second thoughts and is like, I'm not going to be any good at this. I don't even know if I want to go anymore. And then Hitler is like, no, of course you're going to be great. You're just telling yourself that because you're scared and blah 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 all this stuff. And he's like, come on, you want to please me, right? And he's just like, yeah, I know I do. And he's like, okay, well then let me see it. And he starts doing the thing, and after they do it a ton of times, it's like he starts hyping him up almost, and he's just like, yeah, get out there and go crazy, and then he
Go crazy,
go crazy, go stupid. But he,
sorry,
but
Anytime I
he,
hear go crazy. That's what I think. Of.
but he, and then he like runs out the house, and Jojo's just like screaming, and is all excited. And I also love like the whole opening credits where it has like the German version of "I Want to Hold Your Hand,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's like when the shine, doo 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 doo, and it's doing the whole thing. But we're literally seeing like actual footage of World War II going on and stuff that was happening in Germany at the time, and all these people are treating Hitler like he is like a god. And it's just kind of crazy to think that like that's real. That actually happened. Like people were so obsessed with this guy. They treated him like he was a member of like BTS.
Bro,
Like
like
they idolized the man. They would be like, if I could just touch him, like like it's kind of insane to think that is how brainwashed some of these people were in actual Nazi Germany.
yeah,
And to think that our main character is, if not worse, like he's literally has him in his thoughts and is his imaginary friend and has talks with him, and it's just like, how should I go about handling this? And then Hitler comes by and is like, I don't know. Let's think about it a little bit. And it's like, what the heck is going on? This is crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And then, the whole training montage thing is wild as well.
Yeah.
I think it's super funny. It reminds me a lot of Moonrise Kingdom.
It does.
And I think, with that, a lot of the shots and everything also too, like remind me, or they're reminiscent, I should say, of a Wes Anderson film, or they feel that way at least. So it's fun watching this, and then it's weird watching it at the same time because I'm like, I feel like this is like partly Moonrise Kingdom in this moment, but it's weirdly tainted because there's swastikas everywhere, and they're like talking about all these like unfounded tropes and stereotypes and lies about Jewish people, and being like, they have fangs and horns and
scales.
They sleep upside down like bats. And it's like, you're listening to it all and you're just like, this is insane. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so
Are
stupid.
you serious? And they're like, oh yeah, what else do they have? Like they're just going off all these crazy things, and
and they're saying
watching
10-year-old kids.
Yeah, and from the audience perspective watching it, you're like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like this is not true at all.
Right, yeah.
But at a kid's age,
I mean, it's hard.
You
It's
don't
really
know
hard to blame the
otherwise.
kids.
it's really hard to blame the kids, and then it's also like and that's the hard part that comes about this movie is like, it's hard to blame the kids because they obviously like are being taught this stuff.
Yeah, they don't know any
Literally,
better.
They were born into that kind of ideology.
Right. But
So
then
it's
it's
like-
also like, but you don't want to give any excuse
Right.
to somebody who, believed in that ideology.
Right.
And that's like, I think where some people find issue with this movie, where like they could be like, oh, you're cutting slack to Nazis and all this stuff like that. But this whole movie's ideology, or its whole theme, is about like, change and learning to love versus hating.
Yeah.
And so whenever the end of the film comes and people are still like, oh, I hate it, I'm like, I don't get it.
There's a
Like,
whole
whole arc
Yeah.
for all of these characters, and it's great.
It's great, and specifically want to counteract that argument is because throughout the scene, I mean, we get these very small glimpses into, like, he almost innately knows what he's doing is weird and wrong, because there's that scene where they're all burning all the books, and he's sitting there like
he stops.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
stops and hesitates, and he's like,
Yeah.
should I be doing this? Is like, it almost seems like innately wrong.
Yeah.
And then of course he looks around and he sees the influence all around him, and he sees
Yeah.
everyone
else is doing it.
Yeah.
It must
Yeah.
be okay.
And he throws it in. So that's just a little inkling as to, showing how this is one influencing him to make
Yeah.
these decisions, but it also is showing his inner self and how he doesn't really belong.
Yeah.
And especially it goes even to when
Even whenever the kids are like, kill this rabbit.
Right.
And he's like, no, I don't want to.
and he puts it down and says, go, go, go.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a symbol of like something so innocent as like all the Jewish people that were being persecuted.
Yeah, exactly.
Him being like,
no,
go,
like,
go, go.
go, run away, hurry.
I'm not gonna kill you. I'm not. There's no need for violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another little part, and then there's the part where they're all like doing that. They're playing that war game or whatever, and like there's
Oh,
people
all the
hiding in the
rocks.
grass, and
And they're like smashing people's heads with fake rocks, and he's just kind of running away from combat, and is like,
he
I don't want to
doesn't-
be in this.
he
This
doesn't belong.
Yeah, this is crazy.
So I think they do enough here to show that the character, although he is, subscribed to this ideology, it's terrible, but I don't think they excuse it. And I specifically think the character goes through so much trash because they get to see what he's believing in is exactly what's hurting him.
Exactly.
And I think they do a really good job at showing that throughout the film. And
Yes.
at the end, whenever he does do that switch, it's so rewarding and it's so wholesome.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
you see the change he's been through.
Yeah.
Now you know that he's fighting for the right side, and that he'll go on and maybe look at his past and say, "That's not where
That's
I want
not
to
who
be.
I am.
That's
yeah.
not who I am." Exactly. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And that's just what the intro brings us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your guys' next favorite scene?
My next favorite scene is Be the Rabbit, the grenade scene.
Okay.
Oh, that's like the biggest.
That's a Hugh Bro moment
That's
for
the
me.
one of the biggest bro moments ever. But you get the scene where
It's
obviously you had brought it up where they tell him, kill this rabbit. All you have to do is wring his neck and kill it. Like
Yeah.
it's that easy. Bro, it's not easy to kill something.
Yeah.
It's not
To
easy
take-
to kill.
yeah, to-
especially something so like.
innocent.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to kill Clem.
I could never.
Yeah.
It would be, you would have to like have my mom at gunpoint, and then I'd do it to save my mom. But or like Lisa or something.
yeah.
But otherwise,
That's what I'm saying. Like
just for fun, heck no. You
Yeah.
never catch me.
I
doing that.
could never. I mean, I've killed animals before, but I ate them. But I'm just saying. But like, I could never do it for fun and just not do anything with it.
Yeah, it's
Like
there's
that.
a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
And so you get to see, and everybody calls him Jojo Rabbit after that because he doesn't do anything, and they're
He's
calling him a
scared.
rabbit
He's
because
scared like a rabbit.
he's
He's a
scared.
rabbit.
He's
Yeah.
scared like a rabbit, and the rabbit knows no different.
Mm-hmm.
And Jojo knows no different. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, just say
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill it? And it hurts me because he goes in that scene and he says, "I love killing. I'll kill it." And then when he actually gets presented that rabbit, he's just like, "Oh shit,
Shoot.
yeah.
Yeah.
do I really have to do this?" Like,
Yeah.
again, he's starting to realize like this isn't right. Like, I can't. So he runs away, and then of course his imaginary friend Hitler comes out of nowhere. He goes, "Be the rabbit. Do this." Like,
The
just
rabbits
show
are
him.
actually
Well,
quite cunning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, what, they're making fun of you because you wouldn't do it? And he essentially is like, well, rabbits, they serve their country in their own way, and they do
Yeah.
all this stuff, so if anything, you should try being the rabbit. And, that, hypes him up and amps
Yeah.
him up, and then, you
And
can
then-
continue.
And then it gets to the scene where he just goes, "I'm the rabbit," and just starts running with Hitler on the side, and
Yeah.
it's insane because you're like, bro, this kid was just sad, and now he's just running with this imaginary friend.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, because he's like, Hitler's running alongside him and, like, hyping him up and then being like,
Yeah,
like acting like a fool.
Yeah.
They're making fun of Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And
doesn't look like a man you'd want to be. He looks kind
Yeah.
of like this pathetic kind of
Yeah.
like weirdo.
almost
you
like
know?
a joker or like a jester.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this still.
Yeah.
He's straight up like
it's absolutely
just-
ridiculous.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, it's.
There's no
yeah.
way you could see that and be like,
That's,
Oh, that
that's
was
to
the
be taken
leader?
seriously.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, that it's supposed to be satirical.
and so it gets to this part where they're doing a live action grenade, like they're gonna do
Yeah.
Like-
Freaking Captain K gives all these kids grenades, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna show you how to fire a grenade. Boom, here you go. All right, all of you got one. Now you do it." Like it's like,
Yeah.
"Look at
And
these
so
ten-
he
they're 10
randomly
years old."
grabs it without knowing what to do. Jojo does, and lights it, and then throws it, and then it hits a tree. And the funniest thing too is that the Hitler goes, "That's a no-no" or something like that, and just disappears. And then Jojo just looks at the tree and then at the grenade, and boom, blows
Yeah.
up.
It gets
And I was
so
like-
good.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's at the hospital, and
Yeah.
then that's when we get introduced to Rosie,
Mm-hmm.
which is his mom,
Scarlett
Johansson, my girl, and yeah, that I love that scene because it's just super funny, and you never expect. I wouldn't expect something like that in a film like this.
Right.
Yeah.
That whole montage scene of him going to the hospital too. I was like, this is Wes Anderson. This is
Yeah.
Wes Anderson. Because
Yeah.
you see him
The
like,
whole, like-
on the gurney. It's kind of first person, and
Yeah.
he lifts his
You see the
hands up,
little-
and it's all bloody. And,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, "Oh."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a very comedy. It's a very like fast pacing, but it's
Yeah.
also kind of beautiful in the way it's shot and it's like cinematography.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Wes.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
So that was my
Okay. My next favorite scene is the dinner scene between Mom, Rosie, and JoJo.
Yes. this
which
is
one? There's
the dinner scene.
two.
The first
When
one.
she's chewing
The
on the
first one?
Yeah,
grapes.
when she's chewing on the grapes.
Yes, I love this scene.
I-
There's plenty of tension build up here.
Yeah, and I really enjoy this scene because at this point in the film, JoJo realizes that his mom has been hiding a Jewish girl named Elsa in the home,
Mm-hmm.
and JoJo is not only scared by her, but he's also very angry
Mm-hmm.
at Elsa and at his mom
Yeah.
because he doesn't know why his mom is keeping this person here, and as far as he is aware, Elsa is considered the enemy.
Mhm.
Right, and this is the person that we're supposed to hate. Like, they're not allowed to be here. This is illegal that they be here, right? And I really enjoy the scenes prior to the dinner scene because I think at one point Elsa says something about how she has a fiance,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah,
then
I think-
JoJo writes a letter and is like, "Dear Elsa, like this is Nathan. I don't want to be married to you anymore." And like
Dude.
is trying to just hurt her and break her heart.
That's the way
right?
to do it too.
And it hurts her, and she ends up crying, and it really breaks her heart. But you can tell that there's something innate in JoJo that does not like hurting people, and he immediately feels bad
He
afterwards
does.
after he sees that she starts crying and goes back and writes another letter and is like, "Dear Elsa, it's Nathan again. I decided I don't want to break up with you. I actually do want to get married." He's
Even
like,
though I'm he says like even though I'm still fat and
yeah, he's like, even though I am fat and I have no job and
Yeah.
like all this stuff.
Unemployed.
And he's like, and also you should trust JoJo. He is a nice kid,
stand up
and
guy.
yeah, and he's like he's gonna be a man soon, and blah 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 all this stuff, and it turns into something that started out as really hateful, and then you see this this thing in JoJo where you're like, that's not really who you are though, and just you hurting her feelings made you feel bad. How are you gonna hate an entire race of people if just hurting their feelings is making you feel as bad as it is?
Right. I mean, he was straight up talking about killing them and bringing them to Hitler to be on his personal guard.
Yeah.
And now he's hurt her emotionally, which, I mean, is way better than killing her.
Yeah.
And he's feeling heartbroken over it. I mean, it's such an interesting way to show this battle
Yeah.
within him.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. But that gives you context to the whole dinner scene because at this point JoJo is angry and
Yeah.
he's kind of taking his anger out on his mom at this point. And mom is happy because Germany's losing.
Yeah.
And she's like,
She's
the
all
war's almost over. Like, we can go back to our normal lives. It's going to be great. And blah, blah, blah. I'm going to have some wine and listen to this record. And JoJo is like, why do you want this war to be over? Do you not support our country?
Yeah,
Like,
and
and,
this is one of my favorite quotes. This is when I said I found the whole script.
okay.
I went back to the script to look for this.
Okay.
Because JoJo goes and says, "Do you hate our country?" And Rosie goes, "I love my country. It's war I hate. It's pointless and stupid. The sooner we have peace, the better we live."
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
that's so
subtly showing that she's not
Yeah.
on the side
Yes.
of Germany.
Yes. And this whole scene is great because the entire buildup of the film, we've been told that Jojo has a dad that is not present right now. We know that he's in the war somewhat, or at least that's what Jojo's being told, and that Inga, his sister, has died. So the only people that are in the home are Rosie, the mom, and Jojo. So Rosie at this point is just being a single mom raising a 10-year-old boy.
Right.
Which can be
And-
hard because
which
we all know
can be-
10-year-olds are still kids.
Yeah, and you're doing it without the help of your husband or any other children, any other
Mhm.
older kids to try to help. And so Jojo's pissed at his mom. He's yelling at her and all this stuff. And I think he says something to the effect of like, "I wish Dad were here."
I wish my dad was
And she
something
said,
like that.
"Oh, you really do?"
Yeah,
And she puts on his coat.
yeah. And she puts his coat on and goes to the fireplace and like rubs black all over her face to act like a beard. And she's like, starts laying into him and
Yeah.
is like, "Don't ever talk to your mother that way." And then starts having this like whole like play almost where she's like, "I yelled at the kid." He's like, "Go apologize." And he's like, "Sorry, kid." Like and
That's
does
not
this-
an
it's
apology.
like-
Pathetic.
yeah, and he's like, "That's a pathetic excuse for an apology." And goes through this whole like dialogue between mom and dad and having Jojo there, and it becomes a really heartfelt scene where she's like, "You don't think I miss your dad too? Like I want him to come back home too. That's part of the reason why I want this whole war to be over, so that we can be like a family again." And it turns into a really wholesome scene where she's like, "Now come dance with me."
Yeah.
And they start dancing and hanging out, and it's cute. Like Jojo's little dance he does is precious. It makes me smile, and it's one of those things where you're like, this kid shouldn't have to be like dealing with all this stuff. He should be a kid. And it goes further into his mom even says things. She's like, kids shouldn't have to worry about war and politics and talking about any of this stuff. Kids should be playing outside and riding their bikes and
climbing up the tree and falling off that tree.
yeah, like they should have no part in any of these huge ideas or
Right.
political ideologies. Like it's kind of crazy.
There's no
you should just be a kid.
Yeah, there's no place for a 10-year-old in politics.
Yeah,
Like, that should be the farthest thing they think about.
yeah,
They need to think about, like, how to say words, proper grammar. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
How to tie your shoe.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. How to
Yeah.
freaking
Because you
tie
know
your
honest,
shoe.
I didn't learn how to tie my shoe until I was in 8th grade.
Yeah. Oh wow, really, dude? Wow, bro, you're worse than JoJo.
Yeah, I didn't learn how to tie my shoe until I was in 8th grade.
Dang.
Oh.
I was
Nobody
gonna-
ever taught me.
Okay.
All right, you do the one loop or the two loops?
I do the one loop and then you
No, I
you
do
do the
bunny
loop,
ears.
you loop and pull.
Yeah, I used to do bunny ears.
Bunny
I still
ears.
do
That's
bunny
what I
ears
do,
because I
bunny
don't
ears.
know. Literally, nobody taught me. It was, and my teacher, Miss Ariano, she taught me how to tie my shoe. Literally, for 20 minutes after school, she said, "Okay, we're gonna teach you how to tie your shoe." Like, all I wore was slip-ons until 8th grade when I finally got like my first pair of Vans,
Yeah,
and she taught me how to
Man.
tie my shoes.
that's crazy.
Do you do the fast method now?
No.
There's a way you do it where you go, whoop, and it's
No.
immediate. It's like 10 seconds.
No,
That's what I do.
I still
I
don't
do
wanna.
I do cross, under, bunny.
See, I don't know.
Oh.
I do bunny ears. And
Yeah,
it
and it's so ridiculous. 'Cause you gotta do what buddy ear here, what buddy ear there. They're like cross them.
Yeah,
It's so it's like
that's the
so
only way.
inefficient.
That's what
That's
I
the
do.
only way.
Well, you do 2 bunny ears?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, see, I'm the same way. 2 bunny ears.
There's a way. I'll show. I don't have any laces, but
I was gonna say, watching JoJo and his indoctrination kind of crumble, and the whole conversation about how kids like should not be involved in politics and stuff. I mean, it made me start thinking about my life, and like, I remember there was a point in my childhood when I lived in Fresno, and it was like when the presidential election was happening is when George Bush was president.
Oh.
And I mean, my parents at the time still are they lean sort of to the right. And I remember at the time, like, my parents always just telling me like that George Bush was the good guy. Like he's the good guy. We want him, right? The other guy, he's trash. Like don't listen to him. Don't think about him. Anyone says anything about him, don't, like, he's a bad guy, right? When I was a kid, I had neighbors that had like the opposing guy, signs in their lawn. And they thought it was so funny because I would like go out there and be like, that guy sucks. Oh, like, but George Bush. Blah, blah, blah. And then I got older, and I think about that, and I'm like,
Dang.
they kind of like egged that on a little bit and thought it was funny. I had no place, like, you know, and obviously, you know, my neighbors or something were like, oh, this dumb kid doesn't know what he's talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously. But then I look back at it too, and I'm like, no, George Bush was a piece of trash. Like, he was a horrible president. Like, why was I even like thinking that, you know, he was even remotely okay? But, you know, it's these things that, you know, we get brought up with in our childhoods, and then we change over time, and we recognize, oh, okay, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. Or I'm glad I didn't do this. This was a bad thing. And, you know, I'm happy that I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Or I knew the right thing at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or, you know, you're on the other side where you're on the opposite side of the spectrum, and you're like, I made a change, and, you know, I need to move forward from here, and that's all I can do. Right.
Yeah.
I recognize what was wrong, and only thing I could do is try to get better and, you know, move on from there.
Yeah, that's the scariest thing, though, is that you have to realize that it was wrong.
Exactly.
And that's not very easy for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it was weird watching this movie, thinking about that, and, you know, in my own childhood, being like, man, I was kind of indoctrinated a little bit, like when I was a kid, and it was something that was like funny in my household,
Yeah.
you know. But thinking about it, like, I should have no place talking about stuff like that. I should have been worried about like who's it and who's gonna tag me.
Your next
right?
hiding
Like,
spot for hide and go seek or something.
yeah, or thinking, yeah, exactly, thinking about like, dude, it would be fire to hide in the tree, like next time when I play hide and seek next, you know, like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still think about that, man.
yeah. So my next favorite scene after the dinner scene is Jojo reading Elsa the letters that he's
That
been
one's a
writing to
wholesome
Nathan.
scene.
I don't know if you guys have anything before that.
I think no, because my next scene is when Elsa says, "I'm his sister, Inga."
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
my favorite scene. My
Okay.
next one.
Yeah.
So, this must take place after the whole dinner scene, because the whole reading the Elsa the letter scene where like he initially hurts her and then feels bad and comes back. I love that whole scene, and then it breaks Elsa down to the point where she was like, "I'll tell you anything you want to know about my people," and he's like, "Okay, like where are your horns?" And like, you know, starts like going over like all these stereotypes. And I love that she plays into them, and she's like, "Oh yeah,
She does.
Food is poisonous to us.
Like meat, bread, cheese.
Yeah, like it's
The essential things that need
it's
to
awful.
survive.
If you give it to us, we'll die like within days."
Mm-hmm.
And he's immediately like, "No, that's ridiculous."
Right.
You know, and you know, it's funny that she's able to like play into all these stereotypes
She's manipulating
and
him.
manipulating him.
Right.
And being,
How old do you
and
think she is?
Probably gonna be like 14, 15.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause I
not
was gonna
much
say 'cause
older.
she knows that he
He's a-
knows no better,
Exactly.
and that's why she's doing that.
Yeah,
Right.
and she's able to poke fun at him and play into these stereotypes he's heard, and then at the end of it, make him realize like all these things that you're hearing are dumb.
Yeah.
Like you have heard all these ridiculous stereotypes, and now look at me. I look just like you. The only thing that I have, maybe I got different color hair. Like that's the only thing.
Yeah.
And you know the determination and the resilience that Elsa has to be able to not only endure all these like ridiculous stereotypes that he's been taught his entire life, she also has the decency to sit down with him and recognize like all those things are wrong.
Yeah.
Like and I'm just a human, just like you. Like we really have no difference from one another.
Yeah, she's extremely mature for her age, and I think it's
Yeah.
because just because she's been forced
Yeah.
to, pretty much.
Yeah, she's been forced to grow up, and it's a super sad situation, but
Yeah.
it makes for a super wholesome moment where she can sit down with him and realize like me and you are not that different.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. My next. Do you have another one or no?
no, go into
Okay.
yours.
My next one is when what is it, Gestapo? Is that what they're called?
What are they
Yeah,
called?
yeah. They're like
I don't even
Like-
know.
I almost thought it was like
they're like
detective spy.
yeah, they're like
spies.
spies.
I don't know
Trying to
what-
find people.
spies
who,
on the German people to see if they're harboring any fugitives.
Right. So they end up coming to their house, and cause it's already when they've started to kind of have a relationship, and they're becoming friends. So he's kind of caring about her and all that stuff. And of course, they come And it's at right after she's showered and has been walking around the house.
Wait, I wanna talk about that one scene wherever she showers, and he's sitting outside, and then catches her. She has like her towel up and her hair, and she's kind of like looking at herself in the mirror, and it shows that shot of him with his stomach, and it shows the butterflies, and his stomach is so cute.
It's so precious.
I loved it.
Because that's what his mom says. When you
you
find love, it's pain, but you feel the butterflies.
Yeah.
But the Gestapo people come, and we're already feeling tension because you know what happens.
Mm.
I mean, earlier we get the scene where he's talking to Captain K, and he asks him, "Hey, like, what do I do when I find a Jew?" And they straight up say, "Oh, well, you come and tell us, and we'll tell the Gestapo, and they'll tell the SSR or whatever."
Yeah.
And then they'll come and they'll kill him, and then they'll kill the people who helped, and just a few others because times are really paranoid right now. So you already know that, or at least JoJo knows the severity here.
Yeah. Should he tell anybody?
Yeah.
His mom and family are going to die.
Most likely he will as well.
Yeah.
So they come in and balls puckering. And
Yeah.
but they diffuse it a little bit with doing that whole ridiculous introductions of each other, and it just like drags on with 8 people saying the same phrase, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid.
They say
Yeah.
it so much.
31 times they say it. It's just like
In less than 1 minute.
And it's funny too because new people get introduced into the scene each time, and then they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And you're like, this is ridiculous. Like just these whole like protocols that you had to follow back then, like in the name of being like, oh, you're not German if you don't do it. And it's like, this is ridiculous.
It's so it's like rubbish pretty much. Well, they get through all that, and of course they're immediately searching through the house, turning up all left and right, all the stones. And I don't know. I think they might have heard a noise upstairs.
Right.
So they go, "Oh, who's here?" And they go up there, and of course, you would think that, oh, she's hiding in the corner. She's hiding in her little hiding spot and all that.
Yeah.
No, she's dressed up, and she's pretending to be his sister, the one who was dead.
Yes.
Her name was
Inga.
Inga. And it's incredibly tense because if she makes one move, one wrong statement, she is absolutely gone.
Yep.
She's gonna die.
Everyone is dead.
And also I love this scene too because it freaking sucks because she's forced to say the phrase.
Yes.
And it's like a slap in the face to her people saying it, and she's
Mhm.
gotta say it like 10 times.
Yep.
I bet you would have to have killed her.
Yeah, and she has to do it with a smile on her face too. Like I can only imagine it just being like
a thorn in her
knife,
side,
and just being just the knife twisting.
Every time she has to say it, I feel like it'd be terrible. But they end up going in and they're searching her room, and it gets to this really tense scene where, he asks them, "Hey, where are your papers at? Let's just check and see if the information is right." And Captain K's here along with his assistant guy, so we kind of have a familiar face there. So she gets the paper, and she's tense because she doesn't know the information.
She doesn't know anything about
Inga. Nothing.
And she's trying to be her to save each other.
Right.
Yep.
To save them both.
So she straight up hands it to Captain K, and he asks her birthday.
Yep.
And you're like, how is she gonna know?
Yeah.
She's gonna say something random, and it's gonna be wrong, and she's gonna get killed.
Yeah.
So she says the 1st of May
Yeah.
at 1960
1929.
Yeah, 19. Yeah, something. And he looks, and he goes, "That's correct."
Yeah.
And we're really like, either extremely lucky or something's up with Captain K.
Yeah.
And he hands it back, and then the tall freaking guy.
Who is he? Because I've seen him in so many movies.
I have too.
Yeah,
he
he's in
seems
a
like
lot.
he seems like the perfect guy for this role.
He
though.
does.
He seems like a very long and slender,
Yeah.
creepy
What's
dude.
his
He
name?
sees the book
Right.
that's
the only thing that like stops his
that JoJo has been writing about Jewish people.
the manifesto.
Yeah.
And even then, they even find a way to bring like tension there too, because he starts to go through the pages we've seen him draw, and then he starts to get to the parts
He's
where
all,
it's
"Who's
talking about
Nathan?"
Nathan.
And he's like, "Oh, look, this little boy is killing Nathan. He's drowning him. Now he's torturing him in a pit of snakes.
Yeah.
Now he's doing all this."
Just
and
running over him with a bicycle wheel. It's
and it's like, oh, now he's like, now they're airing out his like feelings.
Yep.
Like he truly likes Elsa, and like he wants like harm for Nathan, so that way
so he could
be with her. Like like there's tension there as well.
Yeah,
and
it's a
then-
very 10-year-old thing to do.
Yeah.
But now it's being aired out, and she has to sit there and not react
Yeah.
to him talking about her fiance like that. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, it's tough.
Yeah.
And then they leave, And he goes, take care of your family.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's happening to the mom. She's just we don't know what she
Yeah,
does. But she's,
When those people showed up, I immediately was like, uh-oh, something happened with Rosie.
right.
That was my immediately thought, because why else? We know that she's defending, or she's against whatever.
She's a part of the rebellion.
Yeah.
She's rebelling against Nazi Germany, and she doesn't want that for her country.
Mm-hmm.
And so immediately, my guess was like, oh, they found out who she is, and they're just gonna go and check out like maybe she is hiding someone,
Yeah.
and that's why they're there. And I immediately was like, shoot, can't believe that. Like,
Mm.
and then we get a horrible scene right after that.
That's where I know him from. His name is Stephen Merchant.
Stephen Merchant. Who's
yeah.
that?
He's the Gestapo guy, the tall, slender weirdo.
Yes. Where
And
is he
he's in
from?
Logan.
Oh, he
He
is.
is
He's
in
the- he's the-
Logan.
He's the sun guy.
Yeah, the guy who's
Yeah.
the guy who, what is he, like a fortune seer or something like
Something like that.
that?
Yeah.
That's why I know him. But anyways, yeah, what you were saying. I've derailed it.
You did, because I was looking for him as well.
Okay. Well, I
Um,
found him. No longer need to look for that.
Nice.
But yeah, we don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, we don't know where she's at. We don't know
And
anything about her at this this point.
gosh, I put it as my favorite scene, but it's not. I don't really want to even talk about it because it's sad.
Yeah.
But do you want to either talk about it here or in bro moments?
Oh, well, I was gonna say there's even a bro moment at the end of this scene whenever we find out that she got the birthday wrong.
Oh yeah, well exactly when she's in her room.
Yeah, she's in her room and she's crying, and he's like, "What? Like we evaded them. Like this is a good thing." And she was like, "I got the birthday wrong. They're gonna come back."
It was the 7th.
Yeah, and she was
Ooh.
like, "It was May 7th. It wasn't May 1st."
But then he starts to realize Captain K might have.
Yeah, covered for them.
Yeah.
And he was
But-
like, he had to have. Like there's no way they're gonna come back.
Right.
And that's when we start to realize like
Maybe there's
okay,
something up with
there's
Captain
something
K.
up with Captain K then too. Like maybe his whole like war story thing is like a crock, and like he's lying about that, and it got demoted to having to babysit kids because he didn't believe in the cause or something.
Right. Yeah. He's not as devout as they
Yeah.
want him to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of turned some characters up on their heads.
Yeah. I'd also read a theory about why Captain K may do that. And it was because there's definite scenes in tension between his partner
Yes.
that make them kind of feel like they might possibly be lovers behind
Yeah,
closed
they might be
doors.
intimate.
Yeah.
And there's a theory that said that like Captain K might possibly like cover for Elsa because she's like a fellow person who is being discriminated against.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's what I was actually going to bring up, and that's what I think actually is he covered for them because soon they're going to realize that he was.
he's targeted. I mean,
He's
just
a
as much
target.
just as much as she
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So
even
I
though
feel-
she's
yeah.
not like the target, he's a target because he's not the same. He's not following the same path
Yeah.
as Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Um,
he's hiding just in a different way.
Yeah.
It's just under the uniform in the regime. He's hiding himself just like she is. So
Yeah.
it only makes sense for him to try to
And
protect her.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why he did it.
Yeah.
Was because he has that fear that he might get caught too.
Yeah.
Confirmed. Film bros have confirmed it.
Because me and you were talking about it before we even started recording. Because I caught onto it that I was like, bro, there's something with the partner. There's something with them.
There's got to be. There's like when they're in the pool scene. There's like a little moment there where they.
They look at each other.
They're like they're about to kiss, and
Yeah,
then
like
they
they
kind
like
of
it.
turn a little bit.
Yeah. There's a hesitation there.
Yeah.
You're immediately like, is there something?
Yeah.
Is there something there?
Yeah.
So
And they never outright say it, but you can almost
you can almost.
infer it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then we get this horrible scene.
Yeah. This is the biggest bro moment.
Biggest moment for me. And
This is the scene that made me cry.
this
man.
made me cry. I was sobbing. I actually, I went, like, you guys know how I cry.
Yeah.
You guys see me cry plenty of times. That's how I was crying
yeah.
Yeah.
don't blame
when
you.
I saw this.
And it's
Um,
such the way that they reveal it too.
It's-
It's like it's a big gut punch, man, because we get specific shots of Rosie's feet like dancing and being full of life and stuff, and then
And then we get this.
just get this
They do it
still image of
purposefully.
this scroll of just seeing her
I'm
shoes.
tearing up right now.
And like you see the shoes and then immediately like Jojo looks at the shoes and then immediately looks up and just starts going and like just hugs her and starts crying, and it's gut wrenching. It's
It hurts.
it's heart wrenching.
Yeah.
The part
It
that
makes me
hurt me the
cry,
most
man.
was we know that Jojo doesn't know how to tie his shoes,
Yes,
and he sees Rosie's shoes
untied.
untied, and then he tries.
He's
Oh
But
my
he
God.
doesn't know how, and then he just throws him down and hugs her again and starts crying again. And it's a gut punch, man.
It sucks.
yeah.
I'm crying. I'm sorry.
no, I get it.
No,
This is-
it's emotionally
yeah.
jarring.
No.
Like
is.
it's you know, you watch this character who's full of life the entire movie and wants nothing but the best like outcome from this war that she's in, and she's, you know, completely anti everything that's happening.
Right.
And then she gets killed for what she does.
Yeah.
So that has to like tell us why she wasn't there for the Gestapo scene. Like she had to have been like taken in at that point in time. That's why they were there. You know, they were looking for this girl but then couldn't find her. And
It hurts me because
you know,
there's a scene that we get earlier on in the movie where there is people who are in that same situation who are showed that they are passed and they are hanging like she is,
Mhm.
and she makes her turn and look at it,
yeah.
and now he's on the other side of it where that's his mother.
Yeah.
And-
She also
Yeah.
says something to him too where she's like, he asks them like, what did they
do?
do? And she says, all that they could.
Oh,
And then she says that too whenever she's acting like the dad,
Yeah.
where she goes,
What are we supposed to do? And she says, all that we can.
"See, there's little foreshadowing moments
Yeah.
throughout the film,
and
and then you get to the scene and it's still, like, even when you know it, you still, because they intentionally don't show her face. And
Yeah.
I'm
Which
very
I
thankful
appreciate.
for.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for it. I was reading something that Taika Waititi was cited in saying that he's very opposed to showing that on screen, and he wanted it to feel intimate for the character.
Yeah.
And he, you know, that's their moment to
Yeah.
to feel, and we're only there as like a bystander.
Right.
So to even show us just the feed at that point, like,
you can only
for-
assume.
yeah, you can
With-
only draw 2 and 2 together and then realize, holy cow,
This just happened.
this just happened. His mom just died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a jarring way to be like, you know, oh, this is crazy satire, and yet still get this very, like, punch of emotion, just saying, like, yeah, it is satire in these ways, but it also is, like, there's very detrimental effects that are happening
Yeah.
through the war that's going on.
I
mean, it's still real events that really happened,
Yes.
that real people suffered from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I didn't expect to be so hurt by it because
yeah.
I had already, without watching this movie, I already knew this was coming. Because of film pages that I follow, you
Mm.
get stills of that. So I was like, oh, okay, like I know what's gonna happen. Like it's not gonna bother me.
Yeah.
And then when I finally saw it, I was like, holy cow! Like
Yeah.
just overload. It felt like I got crushed by a tsunami wave, dude. Like my emotions just crashed, and I was
Yeah.
like, I can't believe this kid is going through this. He
Yeah.
doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine.
He
Yeah.
doesn't deserve it.
He doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
No, and me now defending Rosie is she didn't deserve it too. She was doing it. Whatever she was doing it for a good cause,
Yeah.
and she did what she could.
Yeah. It's even heartbreaking to see that, you know, Jojo is so hurt and so angry that he even goes back to Elsa and like stabs her, and she has like no reaction, and like it's extremely mature of her to not have a reaction and to recognize like he's mad at the wrong thing.
Right.
Like
He's just confused.
And that point he's truly thinking like, you're the reason my mom died.
Mhm.
But she's not. Like, your mom made her own decisions, and she's ultimately the reason why she passed.
Yeah,
It's not her fault at all. Like, she has nothing to do with it.
she wasn't.
And you know, you're just taking your anger out on the wrong thing.
Yeah,
And for her to like respond in love still to that, and
Yeah.
like, you know, take him afterwards and be like, you know, I heard that your dad was part of the rebellion. That's why he's never here. He's helping my people. He's, you know, him and your mom were really helpful to me. And, you know, I went through tons of people were hiding me. And like every day someone else was new someone else new was helping me until I found your mom and she took me in.
And one thing that Elsa says that also was like, dang, was she says that Rosie treated her like a human.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, like Elsa had to go through so many things, so much crap. And finally Rosie was like, I'm going to take you in and I'm going to treat you like you deserve. Like even if it's a crappy situation for right now, you're going to get the better end of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, there's even a scene too with the two of them together where Rosie says like, I never got to watch my daughter grow up. So
dude.
I guess I'll just have to watch you grow up and think of her.
Yeah.
I'll cry again right now.
Yeah.
I was about to say, well, it's a success that you're crying in
Yeah.
character development. I mean, she's not in it for very much,
Yeah.
but the fact that the scenes that she is in are so impactful to the audience is something great.
Exactly.
Yeah, she
Which
was.
and that's what makes me mad that people don't like this movie because they don't see it.
Yeah.
They need to get past their intrusive thoughts and be like,
Mhm.
this movie is not
Or the
supporting
Yeah.
what.
The message can get lost.
Yeah,
somewhere.
the message can get lost, but if they just finish it and realize like they're poking fun at something that was bad and
Mhm.
showing that it was bad
Yeah.
and that we should never go back to what they went through, what Germany went through, what everybody went through.
Mhm.
And I just wish people would get past that. And when I
Yeah.
read the reviews and I see people hating on this movie, it hurts.
Okay.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sorry, I got emotional.
No, well, we can go on. That's pretty much towards the end. The next
Yeah.
scene I had that was a little bit emotionally charged was when, the Americans and all them, pretty much everybody is.
Everyone
is
and they say the Americans, the Russians, the Chinese. They say everybody basically.
Yeah, literally
So, like,
everyone.
everyone's surrounding us. Like basically, we're basically like they're gonna come in at any moment and take us out and win the war.
Right. They come in and pretty much, they get overrun, and you get to see all the death and all the stuff that happens. The more ridiculous moments of the kids being involved and seeing Rebel
Yeah.
Wilson's character go
With the
out.
freaking machine gun.
Yeah.
She's like, "Go out and give the Americans a hug," and she like
Dude, she
straps a
puts a
freaking
freaking
grenade to him
grenade.
and like
I literally-
pulls the pin. She's like, "Go give him a hug."
I literally said,
Yeah.
as a bro moment, because that's a big bro moment
That's
for me.
a
I said,
bro.
see the Americans equals kamikaze, dude.
It's not good. But
And it's a little kid.
yeah, a little kid. That's terrible. But after all that, he ends up the Americans come in and take Jojo and bring him to where they're holding
Captain K.
Captain
and
K.
all the German soldiers.
All the Germans roll. I really enjoyed this scene because Captain K
Yeah.
was like he finally tells him like, hey, your mom was an actually
an
good
actual
person.
good person.
Like she
Not
what
like
she
us.
did was
crying, like,
Yeah, this is where I started tearing up really bad too. Was
yeah.
whenever he
He kind of like sacrifices
he does,
himself.
and he previous to the scene, Rebel Wilson's character puts a jacket on Jojo and is like trying to get him to go fight the Americans and Russians.
No, she puts it on him and says, well, they're not going to shoot you because you look like one of theirs.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't she say that?
yeah, she says something along those lines because he obviously is 10 years old and
Yeah.
the opposing team is killing
Yeah.
team. Sorry, I don't know why I said it like that. The opposing people are killing anybody who is not them. right?
Yes.
And so basically, they get this. He has that jacket and he's just walking to them. And this army person is
Yeah,
just
they
like
get taken. They
yeah.
take him to where all the other guys are getting held, these prisoners of war at this
Yeah.
point.
And
And he sees Captain K, and they have this emotional conversation where he says, "I'm sorry, really sorry to hear about your mom. She was an actual good person."
yeah, and Captain K goes to the extent and be like, "Oh, he is not one of us. He is."
Yeah, he like
He straight up
rips
says
the,
he's a Jewish
rips the
kid.
jacket off of him and says, "Get out of here." And
He's
starts calling him
spitting on
a
him.
Jewish kid and starts spitting on him and kicking him and stuff. And Jojo's smart enough to realize what's going on at the moment, and he's like, "No, stop! Like, this you don't have to do this." And he's like, "Get out of here! Get out of here! This kid's Jewish. Like, I don't want to talk to him. Get him out of here!" And it's like spitting on him and sacrificing himself basically. And then the guy, the American soldier, kind of grabs him and takes him
He
out.
goes,
And
"Go home."
Jojo is like screaming and crying, and then Captain K kind of gives him like a little smile at the end, and then the soldier pushes Jojo away and tells him to go home, and he starts walking away, and then you just hear like
Gunfire.
machine gun fire. Just
Yeah.
And again, you put two and two together, you can just think what had happened.
Yeah.
And that's when Nick was in my room when I was finishing this part, and I said, "Dude, he just got saved. Like this could have been him."
Yeah.
And I was in awe because that was something I didn't expect Captain K to do, because again we thought he was for the Nazi Germany, and obviously we know he's leaning to the other side, so he's just he's helping them, and it's something that I didn't suspect at all.
Yeah. And then this leads into the ending of the film, which is my favorite, my last favorite scene. And he eventually Jojo goes back home, and he's gonna go tell Elsa, like, you're free to go. But he has this moment of selfishness and self-centeredness where he goes up to her room, and she's obviously been hearing all the explosions and gunfire and everything that's going on. And, Jojo goes over there and says, "Hey, I'm home." And she's like, "What's going on out there? Like, can I leave? Can I come outside? What's happening? I want to know." And then Jojo is like,
he's like 10-year-oldness come out and be like, I don't want to be alone.
Yeah. And he has this moment of, again, self-centeredness where he's like, I don't want to be alone. I want you to myself. I don't want you to leave. You can't leave. You can't leave me.
He says you can't leave to her. Like, really, what he's really meaning is like, I don't want to be alone. Don't leave me.
Yeah, don't leave me.
But how it's translating to her is like,
you can't leave. You can't leave. Germany won the war.
You're not safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I hate it.
Yeah, it's rough because like you can see like the affliction Jojo has on his face whenever he's saying it, and like he's blatantly lying to her, but he's doing it under the disguise of like, I just don't want you to leave. And meanwhile Elsa's like, what do you mean Germany won the war? Like, I'm gonna have to live like this forever? What do you mean?
Right.
And then eventually she comes out, and
he reads another letter.
Yeah, he reads her a letter and says like,
this time there's not written.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so wholesome.
He's like, he's speaking solely from the heart.
Yeah, and he's like, he says, eventually like reads another letter that was written by Nathan, and she comes out and says like, Nathan's been dead for a year.
Tuberculosis.
Yeah, he died of tuberculosis a year ago, and it's so funny too. He's like, oh, that's weird. How'd these get here then? Like,
he's like trying to play it off.
Yeah. And she, eventually like kind of just lets him know like, it's really sweet what you've been doing, and like I can tell that, you're not a bad kid. Like, you were just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
And there's, you yourself are not a bad kid. My specific quote that I have is, "You're not a Nazi. You're a 10-year-old kid who likes dressing up in a funny uniform and wants to be part of a club."
Yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes from her too.
Yeah. And eventually he leaves and goes back to his room, and then this is when we get the last scene with Hitler as the imaginary friend, and he comes back.
I love it.
He's like got the gunshot wound in his head, and is all bloody and wearing his like last uniform, and
he's like
he
drunk,
comes back
and he just looks like a buffoon.
Yeah, and it's at this point where he kind of goes mask off with Jojo and is like, "What are you doing talking to that girl? You need to put this back on, and you need to go out there and tell her she needs to leave. She's not like you, blah, blah, blah." And is just spitting all this nasty propaganda at him that he's been, taking in this entire film. And then, Jojo keeps telling him like, no, like that's not who she is. She's not that. And I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to do what you say. And then like he's like, "Come on, you used to love me. Like, what happened? Can't you do this for me?" And he goes like, No, I'm not going to do it." And then Hitler starts to yell at him and scream at him, and then he goes, "F off, Hitler," and then like kicks him out the window, and then
like super kick.
Yeah, and that's the last we get of him. And then Jojo takes well, first off, I have to mention the whole scene where they start to, he was like, let's go outside and let's see what happened.
Yeah.
And
he plays that whole thing like his mom did.
Yeah. She was like,
"Is it dangerous out there?"
Yeah.
Extremely.
Yeah. And she, he ties her shoe.
Oh,
Yeah.
bro, when that was so rewarding.
Yeah.
I looked at Nick and I said,
Yeah.
like, again, like it just brings me back to the part where he couldn't tie Rosie's shoe.
Yeah.
And then finally, Elsa's finally going to be able to be free.
Yeah.
And he ties
like
her
the-
shoe.
Yeah.
The
When I think-
finishing of his arc.
Yeah, and when I think it's interesting too, like, even whenever the beginning of the film, whenever we find out he can't tie his shoes, he never even tries.
No.
He never does.
And then whenever it really matters, when he finds out his mom passed away, he at least tried, but he couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever it truly came to a point where he really needed to do it, he was able to.
Yeah.
And, was able to do that for somebody else, like it had been done for him his entire life.
Right.
And does that for Elsa. They walk out. Elsa sees, people flying American flags and, all this camaraderie outside, and everybody's kind of like picking up debris and everything. And she kind of looks back at him and is like,
you lied to me?
You lied to me.
Yeah.
And smacks him. And
Which is so,
yeah, it's very deserving. He even says it. He's like, I probably deserve that.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I deserve that.
Yeah. And then,
And then she starts.
Yeah, she kind of tells him, like, well, what do we do now?
What do you do when
And-
you're free?
Yeah, and they
And-
had this whole
dude.
conversation where they had, like, talked about, like, whenever she had said, like, whenever I'm free, I'm going to dance. Like, that's one thing I want to do is I just want to be able to dance and celebrate that I'm free. And the film closes with this German version of Heroes by David Bowie playing, and they kind of like start sharing this little moment with one another and dancing and having this wholesome moment. And I teared up at the end here, they're just cheesing.
I was so
yeah,
happy.
cheesing from ear to ear because I was just like so happy for these two because now they can finally like not hide their friendship or relationship anymore, and they're able to go about their lives and be free.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. It was definitely a really solid ending.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, but that I think about does it for all the favorite
That's the
scenes
movie.
here,
That's
right?
the tied up of the shoelace on the movie.
Perfect.
So perfect.
What are some best quotes here then?
I had said mine with Rosie, and the one that I have last is, I think we probably will all have it, is the last quote that we see on the film, which is written
from
The
Rilke.
Rilke. Yeah.
from Rilke, and it says, "Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final," which is
It's very
100% true to this day.
It's very encouraging too.
It's very encouraging, and it's
Yes.
just very, a thing to look at. Nothing you go through is gonna be final.
Yeah.
Nothing
Right.
is.
Yeah.
You will get past whatever you are going through, and
Mhm.
it'll eventually be okay.
Yeah.
And
oh man.
with him, with this story, whatever he was going through was crap. Was absolutely
Yeah.
crap. But now look at the end. It's gonna be okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And same for Elsa.
I don't have it written down, but it reminds me of the scene where it's Rosie and what was her name again?
Elsa?
Yeah, Elsa. And when they're in their hidey hole and she's talking about like, how she's not able to live, and she's like, the fact that you're alive means that you're winning. The fact that you're alive means that you're gonna win. And you have to keep tomorrow as the same.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tomorrow will be the same.
Mm.
And it's like a very powerful, like you think that your existence here is terrible, but it's really the thing that's causing the enemy to lose.
Yeah.
So hold strong and keep your
Yeah.
faith.
Hold on
Yeah.
to that part. Yeah.
No feeling is final.
Yeah.
It just is a nice little callback to that.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding there.
Definitely.
I only have funny ones. I don't want I kind of feel like we're in a
Yeah.
emotion now where it's like
No, it's okay.
I'm like
yeah.
you know what I mean? I feel like a
Yeah.
little dunce
Yeah.
now.
The only one that I have that is, I guess, sort of on that emotional level before I have all my funny ones
Okay.
is a piece of dialogue from Elsa and Jojo where Jojo asks Elsa the question, "You would turn your back on Germany forever?" And she responds with, It turned on me first."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, funny ones. My first one is when Hitler is talking about he's like, "Oh, you know how I blew up and all that stuff," and he goes, "Oh, you know how I survived that? Well, bomb per flags."
Yeah.
he says that, and I'm like, "This is
Yeah.
ridiculous."
I immediately think of one of the one that the Gestapo says, where he's like, "You may have heard a rumor about Hitler having one ball. This is untrue. He has 4."
You're like, what?
We haven't
Yeah.
even talked about one of my favorite characters in the movies, which is Yorkie, which is
Yorkie is awesome.
which is JoJo's second best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the funny ones that I thought was Yorkie at the end of the movie. He goes, "I'm going home to my mother. I need a cuddle."
Yeah. Yeah. It's also funny too hearing him like also have an arc where he was like, actually, it turns out Hitler was a really bad guy and he wasn't telling us anything about all the bad stuff that he was doing. Turns out we were the bad guys in the situation, so I'm not really sure how to feel about fighting these people, you know. I also love one of the pieces of dialogue between Jojo and Yorkie, where Jojo, after he had just gotten bullied, he goes off and cries, and Yorkie finds him and is like, "Are you crying?" And then Jojo looks back at him and says, "Are you a teardrop specialist?" Yeah. It's funny.
Oh yeah, that one's good too.
I think my last one too that just made me laugh was whenever they're at the camp and they're learning all this trash about these, you know, stereotypes about Jewish people. They finish up all their lessons and they're like, "Okay, everybody grab your things. It's time to burn some books."
And they're like,
and then everyone's all, "Yay!" It's like, this is wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Any other
it for me.
quotes?
No, that's it.
That's it for me.
All right. What are some bro moments?
There's some definitely ones that we missed.
Yeah. So my immediate one is after those kids kill that rabbit, bro, he just goes like, whoosh, rings it, and then just goes, yeet, and like
no reason.
tomahawks that thing into the forest, man. It's insane.
Someone that we didn't talk about, because I didn't really like this character anyways, is Rebel Wilson's character.
Yeah.
Her name is Fraulein. I don't know how to say her first name or her other name. Or actually, I don't have
Rom or something.
Rom. Yeah, Fraulein Rom, and she just straight up says, "I had 18 kids for Germany."
Such
And
a
I
great
just-
year
I-
to be a girl.
Yeah, and it was just a bro moment because I was just thinking, imagine having 18 kids.
Yeah.
Like the amount of pain you got to go through to have 18 kids.
Yeah. I have a majority of them I have talked about already. The other one we haven't said is Nathan being dead.
Okay.
I don't. Do you have any other ones? I
have
all of
two
mine have
more.
been talked about.
We've pretty much talked about all my bro
Yeah,
moments.
I'm reading. I'm like, oh, check. Oh, Yorkie. He literally dropped the rocket launcher
And it shoots.
and it shoots.
Dude, that's what I have. I said Yorkie with the rocket launcher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny.
That was my second.
Oh, bro, moment. I got one, but go ahead.
My last one, because Yorkie with the rocket launcher was my other one, was so obviously Jojo goes back to be part of the camp and try to do his part still, but he can't do anything. He can't participate in any of the exercises, so they make him be like a propaganda person.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Okay, here's your thing, and here's your gun." And I said, "Bro, you're handing him
The mom is like, whoa.
Yeah.
you're handing him a gun? Like, what's he gonna do? He's 10 years old."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, bro,
Yeah,
10
that-
years old with a gun.
That leads to my last pro moment of the war going on and the kids being conscripted and seeing all the little kids, and the camera is panning and you see these people just as like in civilian outfits, and you see this little girl like holding an MP40 and she doesn't really know how to use it, and you just
Yeah.
get to see like these civilians coming in and fighting a war that they're not,
Yeah, they're not even a part of almost.
and you see them all like dead down there. It's just like
It's
it's such a bro moment seeing how ill-equipped they are fighting a battle that's not even worth it,
Yeah.
and to see them, see the kids.
Yeah.
There's a moment where Jojo is standing there, and right behind him, there's like a crowd of kids that are like,
Yeah.
running to war, and you think to yourself, man, they're 10.
Yeah.
They're 10 years old.
Yeah.
No place.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big bro moment.
Seriously. Any other bro moments here?
No.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some of the facts then.
Yeah, the budget to make this movie was not $14 million. For opening weekend, it made $349,000. Gross U.S. and Canada made $33.3 million, and then gross worldwide made $90.3 million. So
Well,
it made its money.
There you go.
Nice.
That's the money for you.
Nice.
So it made a good amount.
So we had already mentioned that this was an Oscar winner for Best Adapted Screenplay, and that it was based on a book called Caging Skies by Christine Lunitz. But I had actually read here that in regards to like the whole writing of the film and all that, Taika Waititi actually never really did any research into regards to playing Adolf Hitler. And I find it funny because not only is Taika Waititi Jewish, and it's the the ultimate like slap in the face to a guy like him to
Yeah.
have a Jewish guy play you.
And I have a fact about that too. he had said in a article, he said, what there's no his better. Gosh dang it, let me read it real quick. He was asked why did he play him? The simple answer that he gave was, what a better fu to the guy
Yeah.
than a Jewish guy playing him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's so true.
Yeah, so it's a big slap in the face to someone like him for that to happen, but also in regards to asking, how he would be able to recreate the character, he said that he would do it as inaccurate as possible and that he wasn't worth doing any research on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had read
Yeah.
that and I was like, yeah, it's kind of true. It's
Yeah.
kind of right.
And it also kind of plays into my last fact here that throughout the movie, Hitler offers Jojo cigarettes and is shown eating meat, when in reality, Hitler was very strongly opposed to smoking, I guess, and was also a vegetarian.
Oh, wow.
So it implies that not only did Jojo know very little about him, like he basically knew almost nothing.
Mhm.
So he created this version of him in his mind that is like a friendly type guy who, wants the best for him, when in reality, he knows nothing about him. And also Taika Waititi intentionally is like, I'm gonna
Make him look like
a fool,
Yeah.
and be like, say I could do anything I want about him because he's not worth the research.
Right.
Hmm.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I have a fact a fact about Sam Rockwell. This is the third film in a row that he's been nominated for Best Picture.
That's crazy.
So one of the 2017 is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which I want to watch.
Yes, that's a good one.
And then 2018 year after that is the Vice he was in.
Okay.
So wherever this man goes, he's doing it.
Yeah, seriously.
Getting nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
The one last fact that I have, it's just I was interested by it. So each character has an animal motive. Freddie Finkel is a dog shown by his attachment to Captain K and his mix up with German Shepherds.
So funny.
Which that was
He's
a
like,
funny
that's such a
thing.
weird name for a dog.
And they actually got like German Shepherds.
Yeah.
Like
Which I was-
German people.
Yeah.
And then Rosie is a tiger. Elsa is a butterfly, and the most obvious animal motive is Jojo with a rabbit.
Mm.
And I thought that was really cool that each character had their motives.
Motifs. That's pretty cool.
And that was my last fact.
Yeah, that's all I've got too.
All right. What didn't work for this movie?
The only thing I said was that the casting was a little distracting.
Mm.
The adult casting was distracting because I don't know the kid characters, so it was very new to see them, and then to see like Scarlett Johansson. She did a fantastic job in all that she did, but like I just saw her as Black Widow, and I was like, it's really hard for me to separate her from all of her other roles.
Okay.
And she did great. Her accent was also, I was a little like, this isn't how she normally sounds. And it was just like, I had wished that they, and it kind of sucks because I don't want to say like she shouldn't have been in it, because she did a great job.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like take that away from her, but like, I don't know. I think anyone could have played that role just as well as she did.
Mm.
And it maybe would have been less distracting for me, because when I'd seen her, I just remember thinking to myself, oh, that's Scarlett Johansson. Wow.
Yeah.
Like, this is Black Widow. Wow. And it was really hard for me to like,
Have that suspension of disbelief.
yeah, to separate her.
Yeah.
Same thing with same thing with Taika Waititi.
Okay.
I had heard him as Korg, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's kind of,
Hey,
it's
man.
like, hey man, it's like, it was
Yeah.
it was still that like weird distraction,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I just wanted to highlight that.
Okay. I think the only thing that I had written down was, and I'm not sure if this is to play into the satire aspect of the film or not, but I felt like some of the German accents were like over the top
Right.
and kind of like done up on purpose. And again, I'm having trouble finding or figuring out if that's because of the satire aspect of it, or if it's
Like
just
they just wanted
because,
to make
like,
it seem so over the top.
exactly, or if it's because they just couldn't do it like well.
Yeah.
So I had like a hard time figuring out like how to feel about the accents, because like Scarlett Johansson being like, for now I'm just going to chew on these grapes. I'm like, that feels
It feels
bad.
Yeah.
Like
it feels kind of forced.
yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that.
Anything else for what didn't work?
I didn't have anything.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find fault
Yeah.
with this film, especially when you buy into the satire nature of it. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to just be like, oh yeah, but it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be bad. It's supposed to be
It's supposed to be a funny bad movie.
yeah chaotic.
Well, let's talk about what did work then.
For me, automatically was I loved it, and I think it's gonna be credited to the writing. But I loved it because I felt so much, and I think this is a movie that I haven't cried to a movie in such a long time, and this movie definitely obviously made me cry.
Yeah.
And I loved it because it made me feel so much in such little time, and I think that works perfectly for this movie. I don't think it's too long. I don't think it's hard to grasp this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'll echo you in saying that I think the pacing is pretty on point for this film, as well as the writing. I think the writing is really great here, and I think the satire is spot on. You know, it's awesome that they're able to poke fun at the absurdity that was Nazi Germany and the things that they believed at the time, and I think it's also. Not only is the writing funny, but it's also really heartfelt and polarizing at some points, and you know it makes you drop your guard and hits you with a combo, and then you know you put your guard back up and then kind of let it down again, and then you get hit with another like 1-2 punch, and you know it's you go on this roller coaster of emotions throughout this film, and you leave it, you know, smiling from ear to ear and being hopeful at the end and being like, man, like. Change can truly happen.
Yeah.
Like if you really do want it, change can happen.
I was gonna say it ends you leaving with a great message,
Right.
of, you know, the ability to change, the ability to look at your past self and recover from that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I characters I think are really really strong here.
Yeah. Yeah.
The kid acting I thought was great.
I'm gonna bring it up to
It's
you.
fantastic.
I
Yeah.
know you hate kid actors.
Yeah, I have to echo you in saying that the kid that plays JoJo, Roman Griffin Davis, he kills it.
He kills it. He
He does.
Yeah.
I think that this is the first film I've ever seen him in.
Same.
I don't know if he's in anything
anything
else.
else.
I have to say, if he's going to continue his acting career, I'd
He
be
should,
really
100%.
excited to see where he goes from here, because he honestly killed it in this
He
movie.
definitely did.
Him and I would love to see the kid that played Yorkie.
Oh, his
Like-
name, I know it. It's Archie Yates.
Okay.
The thing is, he plays in one of the worst movies of all time.
Some Good Boys.
No, Archie Yates. It came out in 2021. Home Sweet Home Alone.
That's him.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's in that movie.
Yikes.
He's
That's him?
the kid.
Oh
And
no.
Don't blame. I mean, it's not on him.
I
Obviously,
mean, he's a kid.
He's in the movie. He plays the kid, and that movie is trash. It's trash.
Oh, it's trash. It's trash.
It's freaking trash. So that's what he's in. But I see here he's in Amphibia, is like an animated thing coming out sometime soon, 2022.
It
I don't
says 2022. Yeah.
know. So
Okay.
who knows? He's gonna be in stuff, but in this one he freaking kills it.
Yeah.
He's like this nice little, like, he's just like a innocent, cute little kid.
Yeah.
You know, just saying all the funniest quotes and
Yeah.
seeming precious. You know,
Yeah.
I loved it.
Definitely. I also have to say I really loved the use of German versions of popular songs getting used, like I Want to Hold Your Hand and Heroes. I just have to say, Heroes is such a great song
Yeah.
by David Bowie. So first off, I just love the use of it in any film, regardless. But hearing like the German version of it was a nice like callback to the beginning of the film, the opening credits, because they used the German version of I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Right.
But also like knowing the backstory behind the recording of that song and how Heroes was recorded in Berlin and is about two lovers that are separated by the Berlin Wall at the time, and like being able to tie that in as well with, you know, the ending of this film and about, you know, ending it with this feeling of like freedom and love, and how, you know, love really has no bounds. It can conquer all, essentially. Like ending it with a song that is as solid as that is really like great decision making in my opinion. Like I couldn't think of a better song to end it with.
Yeah, I would even say the directing here, especially with the cinematography, dude.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, it reminds me of a Wes Anderson film.
Yes.
And every time we talk about Wes Anderson, we talk about the beautiful style, the great cinematography, the perfect framing. I mean, everything here, the color grading, it's all spot on point. You know, it feels great. There's like scenes where I was genuinely like, wow, this is really nice. Like there's scenes where he jumps down a hole and the camera follows him, kind of like the building seems to be cut in half. Yeah. So we get to still see what he's doing down there, but it's like almost feels like a miniature at some points. Yeah. I don't know. It was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Any other things that did work here?
I think this is a movie everybody should watch.
Okay.
Maybe not rewatch. I think this is a movie that could be one and done. But I think everybody should watch this movie and just understand the preface of this movie. And see that like it's not a film to take serious. No. And I think this is a film that everybody should watch to just understand the circumstances that some people.
You take it seriously, but it's supposed to be like ironic, or it's supposed to be like this is real and this is serious. But look at it's supposed to like
how ridiculous
highlight the foolishness of it.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
So
but like,
I know what you're saying.
And like. I'm gonna literally tomorrow when I go to work. I always talk to some coworkers after we record. I'm gonna be like, "You gotta watch this movie. Like, don't listen to the podcast without watching this movie." Because they just need to understand like what we watched. Yeah, and you won't understand why we liked it so much if you didn't watch it. And so like I will literally tell people like if somebody says what movie I would recommend them. Of course, I'm going to recommend them Sound of Music, and then Little Woman, and then I will recommend them this one.
Jojo Rabbit.
This is probably like my top 10 right now.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, who wins the movie then?
I think it's Jojo. It's Roman Griffin Davis.
Yeah, I agree. I also side with Roman Griffin Davis.
Really?
Okay.
I had to skip Scarlett Johansson because I would pick her first in any day of my life.
No, she was great, but I think Thomasin McKenzie as Elsa. Yeah, I think she freaking kills it.
Yeah,
she just really.
She's awesome.
She's great at showing this turmoil, and just like being absolutely defeated and yet still like finding a way to persevere. Yeah, I think it's crazy awesome acting here.
Yeah, definitely.
She's very subtle with her face too.
I've never seen her in anything else.
Yeah,
me neither. But she's awesome. And then
we'll be seeing more from her.
Yeah, I hope
she was in a movie that I've heard a lot called Last Night in Soho.
Oh, never watched it. That's with
Edgar
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, Edgar Wright.
She's in that. She's in that movie. She's in the movie Old.
Oh,
okay.
God.
M. Night Shyamalan. Oh
man. He who shall not be named.
Yeah, that's Voldemort in this studio here, man.
Oh man.
That's the only other movies that I knew that I saw that I would recognize.
Archie Yates, he did great too.
He did good.
It's kind of funny because
he's not in that much, but he's amazing.
Every time he's in the scene though, it's kind of like I pay attention to this kid. He's funny. He's still in it. Yeah. He's great.
I literally told Nick, I said, dude, I love Yorkie.
Yeah, Yorkie. Yeah. Cute little fool.
All right. What are some themes for this movie?
Ooh. I put how hard it is to disenfranchise an idea, especially when, we've been talking about it recently. How the older you get, the more solidified your ideas get.
Yes.
And the harder it is to change your mind. Mm-hmm. And I think was definitely an issue for the German people going through this. I mean, they didn't think they were bad.
Right.
Well, they didn't know any different. Yeah.
They didn't know any different. I mean, they were literally surrounded by people who were manipulated and, into this idea.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how, the kid is able to catch it early by the people that he looks up to, his mom, Captain K, and is able to kind of like get pulled out of that. Like I think of Spider-Man in the Venom suit.
Yeah.
Where it's so easy to let yourself over.
Yeah, and to be overcome.
Right, but then you get... I'm thinking of when freaking Eddie's in there and he has to pull him out.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like that where he's getting pulled away from that, being saved.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really interesting how a little kid was doing it.
Yeah.
'Cause it is easier for kids to learn right and wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut you off automatically because I want you to go last because your theme is
Yeah, yours is great.
amazing. And I didn't write one down, but I just thought about it right now, and it's okay to go against the grain.
Except
And
wind
stand
shaving.
what you believe for.
Mm-hmm.
Even if if it's the wrong thing, but you think it's right for you, it's okay. Like, yeah.
For sure.
Okay. I'd wrote down monsters aren't born, they are made.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that, that it's a whole nature versus nurture argument, and how your environment, really shapes who you are and who you become as a person. And if you grow up in an environment like this, it is going to affect you at some point, and it's going to mold how you perceive things, how you walk, how you talk, how you do certain things in life. And it's up to us as a community and a society to unlearn those things that are harmful, and to instill those things that are good and are going to continue to build us up and stay away from all of the hatred that is ever so prevalent in the world,
Right.
and to always build with love. Yeah. So
Definitely agree.
100% agree with you.
what are we rating this one?
I'll go first. I'll give this one a very solid 8. I enjoyed it a lot, and I think it's got a great message.
All right. You want me to go?
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 8 as well.
Okay.
I really enjoy it. It's a great watch. It's funny. It's definitely a recommendation for me for some people. I'm not sure how much rewatchability it has for me, but I'm definitely glad I own it. It's one of the movies that I am glad that I have in my collection, and I know it will be one thing that I end up showing my kids when they get older, and when they're ready for it. So.
Yeah. I gave it a 9.5.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I truly loved it, and I'm really glad I picked it. I do agree with you that I probably won't rewatch it often,
Mm-hmm.
but I think if I were to return it and return to it and watch it again, I feel like it'll impact me even more.
Mm.
And I hate talking about touchy subjects,
Yeah.
and the fact that this one hurt me,
Mm-hmm.
and made me cry and super emotional. I'm gonna hold it near and dear to my heart because it affected me.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's all you can ask for from a movie.
Definitely.
To make you feel something.
Exactly.
Very cool.
All right. Well, that is the end of the episode, you guys. So if you stuck all the way to the end, we appreciate you. If you did so, let us know by either rating and reviewing the show on the audio platforms like Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google Podcasts. You can also let us know via YouTube. That's where we post our video episodes as well.
Yep.
You can let us know by either liking the video, subscribing, or commenting down below what you thought about the episode. You can also use those forms of communication either to, let us know what we're doing right, let us know what we're not doing right.
Right.
Give us some,
Constructive criticism.
yeah, or recommendations for
Right.
films.
I love recommendations.
Um,
I've heard recommending movies that I literally have never heard of.
Yeah.
And they could be fantastic movies.
Yeah.
So if you got them, send them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Give us a reason to watch something that
Yeah.
we haven't watched or checked out. So if you think we'll like something, don't be afraid to
Don't forget to hit
comment.
my line.
Yeah. Give us a comment or rate and review, or either, reach out to us via the Instagram or our Letterboxd accounts, which are all in our episode descriptions. Those
or
are
even our email.
Yeah, those are all methods of contact for you guys to be able to contact us and let us know what you guys are thinking, and to get involved in this this little community that we have of film lovers. So, and also, if you know a film lover, or you are in some sort of group of film lovers or something like that, share the podcast with them. Let them know, hey, these guys are doing something cool. I think you guys might like it. Check it out if you enjoy the podcasts. All that stuff. Just go back in our back catalog. We've got tons of episodes now about a lot of movies. See what works for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
I believe it's your pick next.
Yes, it is.
Isaiah, what have you got for us? Big number 100.
Yeah, 100 episodes.
Yeah, this is going to be our 100th episode,
which is insane.
yeah, it's a milestone for sure.
We're
But-
almost to 2 years.
Yes, coming up in the end December. At the end of December.
End
Yep.
of December.
That's
104 episodes will be 2 years.
Yeah,
that's insane.
that is crazy.
That's it's crazy.
Yeah.
We haven't stopped every week.
Yep.
We've been doing this.
Just sit and talk.
It's
Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
man.
crazy.
I didn't think we'd get past episode 5.
Really? I mean, our first episode was crazy, but
Yeah.
our official first episode
It was both encouraging and discouraging
Yeah.
because we had such a great time,
Yeah.
and then we were like, "But how do we get it
Yeah,
to
how do we get it
record?
out?
Like, there's no way. It sucks."
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah,
Yeah.
plenty of trials, but it's been great the
Yeah.
whole time. I've
So-
been enjoying it.
Yeah, me too. So for the 100th episode, we're going to be diving in to a director's work that I know you guys have never seen. And I'm excited because I really like this guy's work and I want to know what you guys think about it. So we're going to dive into one of his more tame picks. He's a director who deals a lot with surrealism and portrays that a lot in
Bless
his
you.
films. And
Thank you.
he can be weird. and I love that
He can be
about
weird.
him. And we're gonna be checking out a movie called Blue Velvet. It is a David Lynch film, and it is currently streaming on HBO Max.
Yes,
Sick.
it is.
So if you have HBO Max, definitely check it out. I got introduced to David Lynch randomly last year. Through not last year actually. I got introduced to David Lynch because of this band called the 1975. And they put out a music video that heavily got influence from a short film that David Lynch made called Rabbits. And I knew, and I was hearing like, oh, they got this inspiration from the short film, and I went and looked it up on YouTube. And I'm not joking you. This is my first exposure to David Lynch. I watched a short film called Rabbits, and everyone in the comments was like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be like a sitcom, or David Lynch's version of a sitcom. And I watched it, and the whole time I was like, what the hell is going on, dude? Like, it was freaking me out. And I was like, what the heck? Like, what am I watching? This is weird. What the heck? And then last year, I watched my first David Lynch film, which was Eraserhead, which is his first movie that he ever came out with. And that movie, in and of itself, was just wild to me. And the whole time I was watching it, I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, and then, you know, but it caused me to like want to understand the film, and, you know, doing tons of research and recognizing the movies about like the fear of being a father. And like, you know, the only way that David Lynch is going to express that is through these crazy ideas that he has and through these very surrealistic mediums and ways. And he's super cool. He's totally original. And I think his most tame pick to start you guys off with is Blue Velvet.
Okay.
So I'm really excited for you guys to check it out for the first time, and to dive into the mind of David Lynch. So
I'm excited.
I'm excited. I don't know what to expect.
I know you love this film.
I literally
So-
know nothing.
Yeah, I know
yeah,
nothing.
Keep
Like-
it that way.
Like literally nothing. I don't even know the genre. I don't know anything.
If you want sort of the genre, I would say it's like crime drama
Crime drama. Okay.
Okay.
for Blue Velvet.
Very excited. I
So
love a good crime.
I
You love a good
Yeah.
crime? Clip
I was like,
that.
oh, dang.
yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys think. I'm excited to revisit Blue Velvet. It's awesome. So
Okay.
we'll go back next week and hear our thoughts about that film.
Yeah.
As always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Good night.